Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and this time we're looking at the rather stunning Jaguar F Type. So the model tested here is the P300, so it's a turbocharged 2-litre inline-4 engine, produces 300 brake horsepower. Base price of this is £54,000. Now this one has a few extras which bring the price up to £60,000, not least of which is the black pack. As you can see through all the exterior bits here, that would normally be chrome, which I think you'll agree wouldn't look so great with this Fuji white paint that comes with it. The wheels as well, these are £2,000 extras, but they are stunning. So the car as standard comes with 18-inch alloys. These are the upgraded 19-inch alloys. When we unlock it, door handles pop out. That's quite a nice touch to have. And you can see the black surrounds here, all part of the black pack, and on the wing mirror as well. And as we get round to the back, one of the features that you can easily identify the P300 with is the single exhaust outlet here, which I think looks quite good. We'll have a quick look in the boot while we're here as well. So you know, there's enough space in there. It's not the biggest, nor is it the smallest. There's a bit of extra storage space in there as well, although if you went for the optional space saver wheel, you would lose a bit of that space. So while we're here, we'll just have a quick listen to it, see what it sounds like. So you get a few pops and bangs on the way down. You know, it doesn't have the, if you go up to the P450, that comes with the V8 engine, and you obviously get the better associated sound with it. The other feature is this spoiler that you can, it pops up at about 60 miles an hour for downforce reasons. You can put it up manually within the cabin, although to be honest I'm not quite sure why you would. You get this lovely gloss black finish everywhere else, and just the plastic under there looks like something of an afterthought compared to the rest of the design concept. But anyway, let's take a closer look at the interior. So what's the Jaguar F Type like inside? Well, it's actually quite nice, quite spacious in here. There's no lack of headroom. Obviously it's only a 2-seater, so you know, you're not going to be able to transport kids or more than one friend along with you for a drive. But you know, it's very nice in here. All the leather and the stitching in here is quite well appointed. The seats are, these are the upgraded 12-way adjustable leather seats. And this, unfortunately, is the only way you can get heated seats in the F Type. The heated seats don't come as standard, which is a little bit mean. So the gear lever here, I think that's quite nicely appointed. You can adjust your parking brake from here, and you can push the spoiler up and down if you want to go around with that in the back. You can. In fact, I'll show you that now, the spoiler beginning, because there's one slight downside to having it up when you're driving. So as you can see the view out the mirror there, if I pop the spoiler up, you lose quite a lot of your rear view there. You know, whether or not that bothers you or not, I don't know. It also comes with parking cameras on here, so stick it into reverse, and that's in full HD as well, so that's quite a nice thing to have, quite useful as well. It comes with the parking sensors, which you might need, because the view out the back isn't amazing, but it's a sports car, so you're not necessarily expecting it to be. So anyway, let's have a closer look at the dials. Okay, so this is the view from the driver's seat. So we'll start her up, and we get the vents popping up out of the dashboard on the left there. I do quite like that actually. So yeah, so the dials on here are very clear and easy to read. One slight thing, so there is quite a lot of configurability you can do here. So this might be a bit boring to watch, but we're going to try and change it to the map quickly. So you have to go in here. This can be a little bit fiddly to work your way around at first, but you know, you'd get used to it over time. But yeah, this is quite nice having the map in the middle there, either side of the speedo and the revometer and everything else. So you've got some vents down there. This is where you adjust the seats, and as you can see there, this car does come with the Meridian sound system, which I have to say is quite good. Yeah, you get decent sound quality out of that. I think you can upgrade that if you so wish. And yeah, bit cubby space down here, and you also get more cubby space. Press this button, there are your cup holders. and under here there's a bit more space and USB charging points as well. One thing I haven't done, so this is where, if you've got this in convertible, that is where the button goes for the convertible, but they've just ripped that out and left that as is. Shame they didn't gloss that over and finish it in the same as the rest of the console here. As I mentioned, this is the button you press to heated seats, up and down, on and off, all that business, and you get a decent sized glove box in here as well. You know, get a few bits and pieces in there as required, and there's more storage space, more cubby holes in the passenger door, and obviously that's where you adjust the passenger seat as well. So yeah, I mean, it's spacious enough in here, it's comfortable enough. I quite like the view from the driver's seat. It's quite easy, you get good visibility out of here. You know, better visibility obviously if you keep that rear spoiler down for when you're looking behind you. But yeah, for long journeys it's comfortable enough, and there's plenty of storage space in here as well. There's this bit of netting here, I'm not quite sure what you'd fit in there, maybe a mobile phone if you want to keep it in there. I'm not sure why you would, but yeah, so there's a few bits and pieces and storage space and all that to complement the boot. And yeah, like I say, I think you'd be perfectly happy in here if you were doing longer journeys as well. So let's get along to the drive along. So what's the F Type like out on the road? Well, actually it's quite nice. So as we mentioned at the top of the video, this is the P300, so it's a turbocharged 2-litre engine rather than the V8 that you get from the P450 upwards. So you know, the numbers, if you're guided by such things, aren't that impressive. The 0 to 62 is just over 5.5 seconds. You know, 0 to 100, you know, you're not pulling up any trees in those sorts of sprints, and you know, you're not going to win too many traffic light races perhaps. But what it lacks in that sort of outright grunt and muscle up top, it makes up for in agility. This car actually feels quite light, it's quite engaging. The steering's very precise, you can guide the nose exactly where you want it to go, and the car tends to follow. And there's just enough playfulness in the rear end as well to, you know, you can enjoy yourself in this car. It will put a smile on your face in the right conditions. Out on the motorway, the road noise is actually quite loud, but you know, the ride comfort's very good. Driving around town, it's been very good as well. It goes over speed bumps easily enough, handles potholes well enough as well. It's not too jarring a ride in that sort of setting. But we are actually out on a B road at the moment, so I'm going to flick it into dynamic and, you know, put the foot down. It does just take a couple of seconds to respond. It thinks about what it's going to do, but then you know, it does pick up pace quite well thereafter, and it does, you know, bristles along quite nicely after that. And the brakes are very good in here as well. One complaint would be the throttle response is a little bit patchy at times. Sometimes when you really want it to take off and you give it a good old prod, and it just takes a second to think about what it's going to do. And then also when you're just pottering around town and you just, you know, gently apply the accelerator, and suddenly it just revs up, and it can be quite fussy in that regard. And yeah, you know, going back to the gearbox, it doesn't always pick the right gear when you're doing a change down. So you know, it does have the flappy paddles here, so you can change it down manually if you can see what's coming ahead and you know you're lining up for an overtake. Just drop it down a couple, and you know, it responds quickly enough. It's not, you know, not sensational, but it's, you know, it's fine in that sort of setting. And you can also do it on the gear stick as well. You can put it into the semi-automatic down there. It is quite a revvy car, so I think in trying to make up for the sort of the lack of grunt from having the turbocharged 2-litre rather than the V6 which the predecessor had, or the V8 that the P450 and above comes with. So it's always, you know, it's always quite at you in that regard. So as soon as you apply the throttle, you're sort of straight up to 2,500 RPM, and it's, you know, it's a bit like a Jack Russell on the lead in some respects. It's just, come on, let's go, and you know, that's quite nice and playful in the right setting. It does it more so when you flick it into dynamic mode down here, and then it's a bit more engaging. That firms up the suspension a little bit as well, so it just gives it a slightly more aggressive gait as you're driving along. You know, but all in all, you know, like I say, it's not going to pull up any trees in a straight line sprint with anyone, but you get it out on the right B road and it's nice and light and it's nice and agile and it's responsive, and you know, it is good fun in that setting. So you know, if you live out in the countryside and you're not too worried about your 0 to 60 times and all that sort of thing, and you're just looking for a really good looking car, which I mean this is, it looks absolutely sensational, and can't think really that there are many better looking cars available on the road at the moment. I'd rate it that highly in terms of looks, and you know, they've done a great job with the chassis and the suspension setup, and there's just the right amount of grip there, and there's, you know, there is just about enough performance there as well, especially if you're taking it out in the countryside and you're enjoying it in that sort of setting. Then you know, you do a lot worse than have a look at the P300. But I think the nagging suspicion is you might want the V8 in it, but you know, then that does cost a lot more money. But for an entry-level F Type, you know, £54,000 is mentioned at the top for the standard version. You know, I think it is good fun, and it's really grown on me as the week's gone on through having it. You know, you do look at the sheet and the facts and the figures to start with, and you are a little bit worried that it's not going to quite live up to expectations. But you know, it's very playful and it's very engaging and it's good fun to drive, and it's just that sort of simple driving pleasure really. And there's a lot to be said for that, and it does pick up well enough. I mean, it's not overly talky, so it doesn't throw you back in your seat or anything like that, and there's just enough sound to keep you entertained. But you know, all in all, you know, for the £60,000 price point that this car comes at, I can see the appeal. I mean, it's going up against things like the Toyota Supra, Porsche 718 Boxster. You know, that sort of car, the Porsche 718 Cayman, sorry. It's going up against that sort of car, and you know, I think it's a difficult one because this looks so good, this car. I mean, like I say, I really don't think there are many better looking cars available than this one at the moment. I think it looks that good, and you know, as an all-round package, I think it's quite good, and I've really enjoyed driving it. But you have to be in that right setting. If you can get it out onto country roads, yeah, this is a really engaging, good fun, simple, straightforward car to drive, unfussy, and I really like that about it. Hope you've enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe. We've got loads more lined up. We've got an Audi RSQ8 coming soon. We've got the Toyota GR Yaris, we've got an Audi RS6, we've got an Aston Martin DBS Superleggera, we've got Honda Civic Type R, and we've got a Caterham 7 lined up for our next reviews. And there's going to be loads more coming on as the year goes on. So please hit like and please subscribe. Thanks.